Hello and welcome to Not Gambling Advice, the baseball betting. Oh, wait, I'm already messing up my own audio. Welcome to it. It's a little bit of a different stream, right? You got me in my humble abode. I'm in my own apartment. We're doing a remote stream, and we're also doing a little bit of a change up, little bit of a switch up here. Normally, we're in studio. We got plenty of MLB picks for myself, but we're reaching kind of the tail end of this MLB season, and not a lot of people want to gamble on baseball. However, there is value to be found, and that's what we're going to do in this stream. So, again, why is it a little bit of a switch up? We just don't have that many people coming on to make plays, but no fear, right? We're gonna go through each and every MLB game on the slate. We're gonna pull up the odds. Mid-Major Matt had 3 plays. 3 of them are 3-unit plays. Cali Wager has plays, but we just don't have a full show. I don't have any plays, but Mid-Major Matt might convince me. Might convince me. So, questions in the chat already. Why did I stop giving out MLB plays? Well, if you've been following me all season, I've been having a tough year, right? In the NFL, we've been great, up around 8.5 units. In the MLB, though, this season, I've been extremely lackluster, down 11.66 units. However, I could still talk about all the plays, but I just felt with, and especially at the end of the baseball season, right in this kind of weird spot as teams, they have so much more motivation versus other teams who are trying to play spoiler. I feel like it's very randomized. And I'd rather take a step back and wait for the playoffs, right? Because playoffs will be right back to our regularly scheduled programming where I'm giving you plenty of plays. But just in these last week or so, I've just stopped. Still have the contest going on? Absolutely, my friend. Producer Cohen, if you could pull up the MLB leaderboard, right? We still have Ollie 1 unit in the lead. Javon at number 2, DeGen at number 3, and Notman Major Matt and I are going to go over every single game on the slate today. And then come playoff time, we'll have both NFL and MLB. Tomorrow, NFL plays. Friday, we're going to go over the MLB slate. And then Sunday, NFL plays, all that good stuff. So that's where I'm at currently on the NFL leaderboard, as you can see, tracked by the Pikkit Sports app. Producer Cohen is going to drop the link. I'm sure they got picks. Absolutely. We're going to have plenty of picks today. People. Don't don't be worried. We're going to have plenty of picks today, okay? Min-Major Matt has 3. California Wager has 3. Also, Producer Cohen, can you shoot me a text? I feel like my video is laggy. I might just switch back to my regular camera. I'm looking at the screen right now. It says I'm pretty laggy. Can you shoot me a text? Slightly laggy. Let me fix this real quick. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like you're on a Mac. I am on a Mac. Give me 1 second, people. Well, now I can't even unplug this. Am I not strong enough? Okay. Now, hold on. Am I as laggy now? I feel like I'm better. I'm not as handsome, and it's not as clear, but I feel a little bit better. Is this better? How we doing here, folks? Better? Good. We're just trying to get you guys some MLB winners. We're just trying to get you guys some. Oh, perfect. Let's get ready to roll. Before we get into Cali Wagers plays, because he'll be joining us in about 5 minutes, and then Min-Major and I are going to go over every game on the slate. Do a quick recap of how we did on Monday, Producer Cohen. Not too shabby, not good. Obviously, we want to be in the green, but we've had plenty of days in the green. That's why we are up 8.44 units. Hit an MLB winner and get a PC Pete. Some slight, you might be correct. But in the NFL, we have been on a heater. But Monday, not so much. Let's get straight into the highlights, Producer Cohen. I struggled, and I'd love to hear from you guys in chat. Because obviously you guys are really smart people. I don't know what I learned from this game, right? Because if you're gonna lose a bet, which we did on the Bucks +6, I want to learn. And in this game, it just felt like the Bucks defense was on the field for 3 quarters of the game, and they got tired, and the Eagles' offensive line just ate them apart. Obviously, that touchdown, I mean, just a terrible, like, closing in on the ball, but I think it was either Devin White or Levante David, I know is one of the Bucs linebackers, but the Eagles just so clocked, right? This one, I thought, "Oh, he's gonna return it for a touchdown," but no, he just ran it out of bounds because Devin White was still dealing with that injury, but Baker simply could not move the ball. Now, he only had 1 interception, but the rain was certainly not good, and I think this game kinda speaks more to the Eagles rather than the Bucks being bad, and the reason I say that is, right, you wanna take positions on teams who maybe lost in prime time, and maybe they're still a good team, but I'm not totally sure if the Bucks are a really good team. We know how good the Eagles are, right? They're 8.5 point favorites to the Commanders on Sunday, and they might blow them out by 20. But that's not really what I'm concerned about. I'm more concerned about, can I find value on the Bucks moving forward? I don't know if I can. I don't know if this team is truly good or not. And when I say good, at least good enough where against mediocre teams that they can pull upset wins, because I'm sure the Bucks are still gonna be relatively undervalued in the market. That's kinda my opinion on this game. I don't feel like I learned all that much. Really, all everything I saw all game was the Eagles' offensive line just bullying this Buccaneers front. But then again, the Bucks seemed like they were on the field. You could see how gassed they were, especially at the end of the game, and the Eagles just bullied them. So we hit the under, which is good, but we lost in the Bucks +6. And Baker gonna Baker with that pick. Yeah, but he did throw an interception, but, like, Jalen Hurts threw 2 interceptions, right? Baker's gonna Baker, but Jalen Hurts had more interceptions, like, I would 1 interception. Obviously, I said on stream, on Monday that I didn't think he would, just because I didn't think he would be very aggressive and that it would be a lot of short dump off passes, but then he threw that bad interception where Reed Blankenship picked him off. I don't know. I'll have to go back to the drawing board with that, but I actually rewatched the game and it's still the same way. It's like, are the Eagles really, really good or are the Bucks really, really bad? I kinda came through looking at it like, I think the Eagles were just better that day, which stinks because I feel like I didn't learn anything really. But again, what did we say? Adrian Hill, absolute goat of a referee. The under, right? Said it hits as a 63% rate. And I'll let you guys in on a little secret of a play that I am looking at on Sunday. Now we're gonna get an MLB play soon. Um, just chopping it up. This is more of a casual stream, right? We're just talking ball. We're just talking ball. Adrian Hill is the referee for Bills versus Dolphins. 53 and a half, very public over. Division game though. Dolphins coming off 70, Broncos or excuse me, Bills coming off 37. The look ahead before those teams scored that many points was 49 and a half, and it went all the way up to 53 and a half. That might be a little high, folks. Might be a little high. Remember, you say, well, that game should go over, right? 28-24 win by either side. It's 52 points. 27-24, 51 points. Something to consider. I might be end up betting on that Bills versus Dolphins under. And when I say might, I'm 97% of the way there. Just trying to wait for 54. Trying to wait for a 54. So we're gonna go over all the MLB games. Obviously, we got California Wager coming in soon. You're sitting on a Marlins ticket some slight, talking about the Marlins today. Also, um, yes, mid-major. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. If you guys have any MLB plays, feel free to throw them in chat because when mid-major and I, we're just gonna be casually talking MLB. When we're going over all the games, I'd love to hear what you guys are on, because he's gonna have 3 plays of his own. You're gonna hear from California Wager in a second. Um, but for me, in terms of early leans, I do think the Mariners pull it out. I do think the Mariners pull it out today, right? They've seen Framber plenty of times. I still don't fully believe in this Astros offense, the way they're swinging the bat right now. But you got 2 motivated teams. I like the value on the Mariners at the plus price, especially at home. What do you think about the under in Atlanta versus Chicago? Well, we can look at it, right? It's Darius Vines versus Jamison Tyon. Do we really want to bet on an under here? Is that what we want to do? 61 plate appearances against the Braves' current roster. Tyon's got a I mean, the stats aren't terrible. Quality of contact has been decent, but the Braves hitters are hitting 327 against him, 433 expected slug. Is that what we want to do? We want to bet on an under? We got California wager ready, Pete. Let's bring him up. Let's bring him up. Let's talk to California wager. Callie, how are you?
Good. Happy Wednesday.
Oh, crap. Can't hear him. This might be an issue, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wait. No, it's not. Callie Wager, can you hear me? Better.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot. My own audio is muted on my computer, producer Cohen. It's not on producer Cohen. It was on me. It's just my audio is muted. How are you, my friend?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. How is and I'm curious because I have taken a short break from betting on MLB lately, kind of in this like weird September, end of September, where you got motivated teams versus unmotivated teams. Have you found success in this short area? Because like sometimes you come on with MLB plays, but then there's the weekend. Like obviously we don't get all of your plays. Like where have you been finding success kind of in this area?
I think, especially this time of the year, like you said, it's extremely difficult. So I've been less on volume, more on spots. That's really been my key. Like I haven't hit MLB every single day. It just hasn't been value. And honestly, between all the other sports that I've been covering, it's just, it's not hitting the top of my line. And there's spots that I'm finding. There's a couple today that I like. But if it's not there, I'm not forcing it. And with how much football is going on, that's kind of taking center stage.
Absolutely. So, but you do have some MLB plays for us today. Why don't we just get straight into play number one?
Yeah. I mean, I'll piggyback right where you were talking about. I'm on Seattle today. I obviously like a 5-2 home record that you're getting with your starter today. I like also more than anything the spot that Seattle's in. Seattle's in a really good position to get into that playoff spot, and a motivated team at home coming off a nice victory yesterday. I think there's a lot of things outside of the numbers that give you that extra motivation, and that's something that I do look for with MLB this time of the year.
It's definitely a good price. This is where I would lean. It's funny. I was just looking at, how Framber has done against the Mariners in his career versus Bryce Miller. Quality of contact against Framber is so low. 281 xWOBA, 303 expected slugging. Those are one of the lowest of the day. And then on the flip side, too, Bryce Miller against this Astros current roster, he hasn't faced them a ton of times, but they have never hit him. Astros batters against Bryce Miller are hitting 105. 105. Like if we click on Bryce Miller, I'm just looking at BVP, right? Batter versus pitcher stats. I mean, none of the guys have hit him. Bregman 0 for 6. Tucker doesn't have a hit. Abreu doesn't have a hit. Pena doesn't have a hit. The only guy with any success off him is Yainer Diaz. Altuve, 0 for. Myers, 0 for. McCormick, 0 for. Jordan's 1 for 4 with a walk. Like, I haven't faced him that many times, but when they did, they haven't done anything against him. But
yeah,
the Mariners haven't done really anything against him. Did you look at the total at all, or you just think the Mariners at a plus price are good in a low-scoring game that it might be?
No, this one to me could, we know how Framber starts can go. I mean, it can happen quickly. So I don't have a big feel in terms of the number for a total, but I just have more of that feeling that this game could go either way. And I think that such a motivated team with so much to play for at home, you're coming to the end of the time at Safeco here with the season coming to, a close. I just feel like there's so many extra motivational factors on top of it today that just push the Mariners.
This is a good question from Total Slayer. Do y'all fade teams that have just clinched a playoff spot or a division? See, that's the issue. It's like, I think that's not a bad spot to do so. But at the same time, I feel like it has to be pretty specific, right? Like if the Orioles clinched a playoff spot, but they're facing, a really bad team, is the bad team motivated? Like I think you can find value in a couple of spots. sometimes, but it's hard to find those exact spots. Great spot to fade Phillies here today. Yeah, that could be one. We'll like I said, Mid Major and I will be going over every game, but definitely want to get the rest of Cali Wagers picks in here. Cali, let's get to pick number 2 because I lean with you on the Mariners as well.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll piggyback again what you just answered. I'm taking the other side of that factor and fading the team that now just got knocked out of the playoffs, race yesterday, essentially. The Giants were still, eyeballing from afar, but that does take the wind out of your sails when you know it is officially over. And I still think the Padres offense, regardless, is the better team. I have no faith in Sean Manaea. I never have. I don't trust him again today. And let's be honest, the Giants have that little bit of a kick in the balls after having finally the season essentially ending yesterday, and it was last night. It just ended.
So you're putting your faith in the knuckleballer today?
I'm having some fun with it. This is more just like a spot play than anything. And I like I said, I still think the Padres offense can get enough.
Yeah, since the month of September started, it's a good spot to fade Sean Manaea against left-handed pitching since September 1st. The Padres have a 179 WRC plus. As a team against lefties, these Padres are slashing 340, 399, 633 to give them 1,032 OPS. The second best team in this time span against lefties is the Rays at a 148 WRC plus. So the Padres have been 31% better than the second place team against lefties in the month of September. So yes, you are dealing with Matt Waldron here. And if you don't want to lay the juice, maybe you could ladder up the Padres just to score. Like if you don't trust Waldron, you don't trust the knuckleballer against the Giants. This is also, I feel like, could be potentially a sneaky over.
Yeah.
I think Padres bats here is the way to go, and you're just taking them to win the game outright. The only issue is now you got to deal with the Padres bullpen, right?
Yeah.
Padres could be winning 4-0, and that bullpen is never safe, right? Josh Hader came out the other day, and he was like, why am I expensing all of my effort here? And it was like, the fan in me was like, are you kidding me? Because you're a part of a team, and then the other part of me realizes, hey, he's a free agent at the end of the season. They are not in postseason form. Why would he? But at the same time, screw that. Like, we need you, but why not Padres first 5? And I know, that's not the best question in the world, because it's like, if I think the Padres are going to win through 5, and I think they're going to win through the whole game. But I guess just what made you go Padres money line over anything in this game?
I mean, like you said, I think the offense is gonna handle business today. I think that they can put up enough runs. I also feel, again, motivationally, that I don't expect a lot of fight from this Giants team. If they get down a little bit early, I really don't see them battling their way back. I mean, the fan base is always questionable in San Francisco, but I just think that today is is a really good spot. Had they won yesterday, if there's still hope alive, maybe I look at a different part of this game. But to me, it's really kick them when they're down, and I think today is that spot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think both of these are good plays, Callie. Was there anything else on the MLB board that you looked at but then ended up not playing?
Let's see. The other game that I looked at today, I just had it a minute ago. I can't remember it, so don't worry about it. It wasn't that important, clearly.
And then you have a college football play. Obviously, we can't count it towards any sort of record on stream, but might as well just get into what you like in the college football realm.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one for the weekend. I'm going to look brilliant, or I'm going to look like an idiot. But hey, that's what we do for a living. So
Yep.
You live and die with it. So, but yeah, I got a max play on Saturday, which is I think my second one of the year. So that'll be cool. But Friday, I'm taking Oregon State. I got them at 3. I think it's now up to 3.5. I think across the board now. But there's a couple of things I like about Oregon State in this game. Coming off that loss last week, obviously, is disappointing. But I think that also can be utilized as a motivational factor. Utah's also had one of the toughest schedules in the year already. I mean, they have played some really good teams. Their defense has been great. But I think this is a spot where until Ritter is truly back and has some repetition, has a feel for that offense, and gets on the field, truly gets on the field. I just question what this Utah offense is capable of. If Oregon State is able to jump out ahead by a couple touchdowns or 10 points, it puts a lot of pressure on a Utah offense that seems very content with wanting to run the ball and let their defense do basically everything. And, honestly, with what they've done so far, why would you think any differently? I do think, though, with DJ Ungalele, I can't get his name right, but I think, with the factor that he adds running the ball, especially on the short side of the field, it makes a huge difference. He's a big boy. I was listening to a pod earlier that was thinking the exact same thing. I was writing it down too, and it was like he's only got like 100 yards of rushing this year, but I think he's got 5 rushing touchdowns. So he's big, he's tough to stop, and push comes to shove. As well as anything, you hate to see a guy in the NFL run, but isn't it nice when you've got a guy who can really just push his way forward at the end for that extra yard or whatever it may be? So I think that makes a big difference. If they can keep the Utah defense on the field for a while, it's going to really hurt them. And I just think that the Oregon State offense is capable enough that they can score enough points. It's going to put too much pressure on Utah. The line being at 3 seemed real good to me, so I jumped on it yesterday.
Interesting. And then for the people who want to tail this, and this is on Saturday?
This is on Friday.
Would you take 3.5? Would you buy that down to 3?
I'd still take 3.5. I think under 4 is fine. I still like the play. I think that, obviously I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I kind of lean the under, honestly, as well. 3.5 does make a pretty big difference, but I still think it's reasonable. Utah having to try to push the offense, could lead to a bigger disaster, honestly.
Absolutely. Callie, appreciate the insight, my man. We got Mariners money line to beat the Astros tonight. I'm fired up. I need that, Callie. We're out here sweating 87.5 wins.
We are all
to turn up a little bit. And
I'm praying for you. I'm on your side with this one.
Me too. It would be very nice because Vladimir Guerrero Jr. decided to turn into a pumpkin.
What happened? Yeah, he just decided it was time. Batting practice was over. He's calling it quits for the year.
No, I mean, it was a bad call, I think, on my part to bet his over this season. Basically, what I was going into the year thinking, well, he had this amazing year in 2021. 2022 takes a step down, but he was hitting the ball so damn hard. All the advanced stats said, all right, now he's going to improve back on that year and get at least closer to the 2021 version. He already went over that hits total last year in a perceived down year. But then watching him this year, like I have watched more Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at bats than any other player in Major League Baseball this season. Like I feel like I haven't missed an at bat of his for I feel like 2 months, and even at the beginning of the season, I was watching Blue Jays games all the time.
Yeah,
his approach stinks. He's super, super aggressive when he doesn't have to be, and then you could tell sometimes I feel like he knows he's being over aggressive, so then he becomes passive, and I think he's too in his own head. His ground ball rate is atrocious. He's 4th in the American League in just ground balls hit in general. I think the advanced stats are always going to say that he's going to play better next year or project him for future success because he does hit the ball so hard. But in all actuality, it's consistently on the ground. And when you don't have a good approach, like he's just not that good of a player, right? He has the same F-WAR as Zach McKinstry this year. Zach McKinstry, he has a lower WAR than DJ LeMahieu, who can't move. So
that doesn't help when you're playing on turf either, and every ground ball that's not in the hole is a guaranteed out.
Yeah, but then he's playing half his games on the road, and he's not even hitting, like, I mean, that doesn't help, but it also, like...
Put the ball in the air.
Yeah, just put the ball in the air. You hit the ball hard enough. But, Callie, I appreciate you, my friend. We're going to welcome on Mid-Major Matt soon. But Mariners, Padres, and then be on the lookout, everybody, for Oregon State minus the 3. Quick, everyone, you're going to want to run to your... Everyone on the Eagles Jones. Okay.
Dog of the weekend. I'll give you for free. Dog of the weekend right now. New Mexico money line. I got him at plus 440.
Wow.
We hit Army a couple weeks ago. New Mexico's playing Wyoming. They're going to run very slow. New Mexico is terrible at completions, but when they get one, it's for like 65 yards. So we get a couple plays. I'm on New Mexico plus 14 as well. There's another play for everybody, but I like New Mexico to hang around. And at plus 440, I'm on it.
Phenomenal. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Good stuff.
See you next. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay. Producer Cohen, I don't know if is Mid-Major Matt here available? Mid-Major Matt. Hello. Turn your computer volume down to just a slight bit of feedback. Yeah, I'll turn my computer down a little bit. Mid-Major, how are you?
I'm doing well, brother. My phone's been acting up the last couple streams, so I apologize. But I heard on Monday, you and my friend DJen had some discourse about the Bucks and the Eagles.
Yes, we did.
And my friend Blue Big Whale Balls has reminded me of that. So
yes. So let's answer it, right? Yeah. We lose a bet, we stand on top of it. We win a bet, we stand on top of it. In that game, I thought that everybody was talking about, the Bucks haven't played anybody good, and then I'm watching the Eagles, and I'm like, they haven't really played anybody good either. And I bought into this new Baker being less aggressive, hitting the short passes, right? Because Baker has never really been in a system where he has good weapons. Like everywhere he's played, it's always been bottom feeder wide receivers. It's been a different head coach. It's been a different offensive coordinator. And from what I saw in the first two games, was a player who I thought improved. I thought he had a good enough arm to stand in the pocket, was mobile enough not to be a pumpkin back there. And I just thought, well, the Eagles' offense, I think, is underwhelming. And I thought 6 points was too many, considering that the Vikings, who I think I have power rated worse than the Bucks, and which is kind of proven. I mean, was I not the one who was screaming from the mountaintops? Vikings, terrible, fade. So I was like, 6 is too many points. And what it proved to be was the Eagles dominated time of possession. And even though Jalen Hurts had a couple of mistakes, the Eagles defense, which was the reason I was on this full game under, right?
So you split.
I split, so it was fine. But I thought the Eagles defense played much better than I thought. And I was honestly incredibly impressed by their effort the entire game. So I lost that one. It ended 25-11. Wasn't a blowout score-wise, right? They just won by 14. But really, if you watch the game, the Eagles dominated that game from start to finish. And the Bucks offense just could not generate anything against his Eagles defense. They just couldn't.
Yeah, obviously, the game's over, so every narrative that was on the Eagles is correct. Every narrative was back in the Bills is incorrect. But what I will say is the Bucks offensive line is it's kind of in shambles at the moment. That's pretty indicative of the Bucks. They got 100 yards of offense before their final drive in the fourth quarter. That's 33 yards of offense a quarter, which is fucking terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah. So,
but the thing is, I guess what I did wrong was I put too much faith in Baker and just kind of discounted, well, the Bucks going to be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
White, who I continue to say I think is one of the worst running backs in the NFL.
Yeah. I think you just put too much emphasis on that, and you didn't factor enough into how bad the Vikings defense really is and how piss poor the Bears defense really is. So that it kind of it skewed, the leverage the argument pro Baker in the offense and as opposed to against, which is fair. A lot of people did that. 6 is a lot of fucking points for a home dog, but it wasn't enough. Anyways,
it wasn't enough. I wish I took plus 14.5, but unfortunately that line wasn't available. It was just 6.
There is a 14.5 though for a home dog this week. There's a 14.5, but we'll get there later this week.
Instead of talking about my loss, but I did hit the under. People forget. I did hit
Big Will Balls never forgets, but he just talks about he likes to embarrass just baseball, and I don't mind that either.
Which is fine. I lost the bet, and I'm gonna lose plenty more in the rest of my life. Hopefully, I just win more often of them. Let's get straight into the MLB slate. Producer Cohen's gonna share the screen, and we're gonna go game by game.
Yeah,
you have plenty of picks, right? We got Rays Red Sox starting up in 54 minutes.
Yeah.
I lean the Rays. I lean the Rays.
I lean the Rays first 5. Man, that pitching for the Rays is just in shambles, Peter. We've seen it. Eflin has he started regressing. He's not going deep anymore. who is it? Littell has just been. He's the pitcher we all thought. He's the pitcher the Giants traded away. They're not getting any length. Even Glass now, his fastball when he gets hit, he gets fucking hit. That being said, I think Bayo, and the Red Sox staff has definitely regressed as well. That's definitely known by their recent, just their play. There's a lot of smart people that are on the Boston Red Sox. I think over 78.5 wins, I think, is their total. They've been at 76 for quite some time, and there's only like 6 games left. So a lot of people starting to get pissed off after it was looking pretty easy. But I lean the Rays pretty early. Bayo, he's never pitched this full season. He came in later last season. He was here and there as a starter, but this is his first full season as a starter. And his pitch quality has definitely gone down, in my opinion. His sinker is not sinking as much. His velocity is a tick down. So he's just getting a little tired, in my opinion. And the Rays bats, they've been smashing righties. I'd rather trust the Rays bats as opposed to the Rays pitching staff for full 9 innings. I actually went the Rays first 5. I don't think Bayo is that guy at the moment. So I like the Rays bats in this matchup.
I think I would just prefer to take the Rays through the full game. I understand where you're coming from. With just
but you've seen Fairbanks' troubles though, right? That concerns me.
It's not just Fairbanks. Like, yes, is he in the most ideal spot? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
But this Rays bullpen, and a bullpen that I faded in the second half, and it never really worked out for me.
Yeah,
they've been really, really good. Not just Fairbanks, right? And if we're comparing bullpens, I'd rather take the Rays bullpen over the Red Sox bullpen.
Agreed.
And the first 5 is even more expensive than the full game. But the reason why I think the Rays just went through the full game and on the first 5 is that Glasnow has absolutely dominated the Red Sox. Through 96 plate appearances, they're hitting 193 against him. Quality of contact is terrible. So, in division games like this, when a division opponent can never truly hit him, do I think he's going to go long? Probably. Do I think that the Rays at least have better arms after Glasnow than the Red Sox do after Bayo? Probably. And if we look at just how, since September, how have these two teams done against righties? I mean, the Rays haven't been great against righties, 97 WRC plus, but Boston has been even worse at an 82 WRC plus, which ranks 26th. I think the Rays have every advantage in this game. I think the Rays just win this game. It's a 7.5 total.
Yeah,
I think
both in the Rays.
Thing that's going to be scoring that is the Rays.
Yeah, both on the Rays. The way I kind of obviously why I isolated is because you spoke towards it. Glasnow, I do think he pitches well today, but I'd rather take Glasnow through the first 2 times through the order, potentially 3 times through the order, as opposed to 3 or potentially 4 times through the order facing the Red Sox. Obviously, he has pitched well against them in his career, which is great news for Glasnow and Rays backers. But with how much he tends to get barreled in the third part through the order, and his OPS tends to skyrocket against opposing lineups the third time through the order. It scares me from going full game because he can get hard. He gets hit hard, and I have a fear that after some extensive bullpen release usage yesterday, that he gets left out there a little too long. So I'd rather take him early.
So would you take Rays first 5 minus a half? It's plus 110.
Yeah, I would. Again, I do expect runs in this game. I don't care about the 7.5. I think the books are definitely having they're having a struggle setting lines at the moment, which a lot of people, it's correlated with a lot of people just capping these games because who knows who's trying, who knows who's throwing what arm out today. The Red Sox are dead in the wild card race. So do they try or do they care? That's hard for them. But I think this is really the totals based off of Glasnow's expectations as opposed to Bayo.
Yeah, I don't mind taking the Rays through the first 5. I was just looking at the props. Like Bayo is at 15.5 pitching outs, juice towards the under. Earned run still 2.5. Glasnow is 17.5 pitching outs, but then again, juice towards the under. 1.5 earned run line, 7.5 Ks. Kind of tells me we get one of those Glasnow starts where he's at like 95 pitches by the 5th inning or something, but hasn't allowed a run.
Right.
And then Bale allows 1 or 2, and you're getting plus money on the Rays through the first 5. I just think the Rays win this game outright. So if you don't want to get cute, I would just take the Rays money line. But I think from what Mid-Major and Matt and I were saying, the best value play is probably just taking them through the first 5 minus a half.
Yeah. back glass now early, and then avoid my concerns with the bullpen, but obviously you like the bullpen. But if you wanted the value, you'd probably go either first five minus a half or the run line for the Rays, which is a lot more juicy.
Let's get to
more
game number two.
ticket.
Absolutely. Let's get to game number 2, Producer Cohen. We got Reds Guardians. I like the Reds here. Just Bieber hasn't looked good. The Guardians still struggle against lefties. Let's see how they've done lately against lefties, because that,
it's pretty poor WRC plus. Bottom 10, I believe, this month.
Yeah, so in the month of September, the Cleveland Guardians do have an 83 WRC plus against lefties. Against righties, who the Reds are going to see today.
They're pretty bad too.
The Reds. Where are you, Cincinnati? Where are you?
Are you going 30 days?
13th. They have a 105 WRC plus. I mean, the Reds have to be a play here at plus money. Total's a little low, which I find interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Reds are the play here at plus 105. I would just take them through the full game. But then again, I would still give Cleveland the bullpen advantage here. I think the best way to play this game, Producer Cohen, can you go Reds first 5? Just go to all wagers. Oh, wait, it's right there. I'm an idiot. First 5. And they're minus 105 on the first 5 money line.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that's the best play. I do.
So actually, I would agree. I actually took the first 5 under. What is it? 4.5 minus 120.
Is that one of your plays?
That is actually my play for the competition. Absolutely.
Let's hear it. Let's put that ticket on.
So you spoke towards it in Cleveland's issues versus lefties. Also yesterday, do you remember how many runs were scored yesterday in the same matchup?
Yeah, it was like 11-7. It was
a fuck ton.
Highest scoring game by far.
By far. And then what catches my eye also this morning is the Bieber did not pitch well his last start, and yet we see a lot of the juice on the under here. And actually, the total moved down from the opener, which definitely caught my eye, so it made me look into it. As you spoke to, the Guardians have not done anything against left-handed pitching, but I'm not sure what split you're looking at. I was looking at the right-handed pitchers in the last month since the start of September for the WRC plus. I believe I saw the Cincinnati Reds in the bottom tier, bottom 10 or 5. I'm not sure exactly what split you have.
Yeah, so just since September 1st against right-handed pitching, I see Cincinnati having a 105 WRC plus.
So I isolated that to away because I don't really want to factor in Great America ballpark stats to this environment in Cleveland. Do you do away?
At the same time, like WRC plus accounts for the park factor, but I mean, still here, just looking at away, 15th, 99 WRC plus.
Okay, so maybe I fucked up. Anyways, I still like the first 5 under. I think Abbott does pitch well. This Guardians offense is just so inept, man. It has no power. They dink and dunk you. Abbott is still that kind of dog, which it's hard to quantify what that really means. But I like the way he's pitched. If I was going to go full game, I would definitely go Reds. But after the usage of both bullpens yesterday, I don't want to touch that. So I want to back the Reds and Abbott and their pitcher, which obviously you do too, which is why you like the Reds in some fashion. But I don't think Bieber pitches terrible. I honestly think this is his last start with the Guardians. He wanted to get traded in the middle of the season. Obviously, he was injured, so he wasn't able to. I don't think he comes back. So I think he pitches well in his swan song today.
Actually, the more I'm looking at the props, the more I kind of think that Bieber will pitch well today. I mean, that's
what I'm telling you. On Prize Picks, on BetMGM, things are kind of juiced to him doing well, which is interesting because he's not pitched well.
Minus 175 over pitching outs, strikeout line at 6.5, earned runs 2.5, minus 110. So just to put that into context here, Shane Bieber and Brian Bayo have the same earned runs line, but it's skewed because Bayo is 15.5 pitching outs, like majorly juiced towards the under, versus Bieber. They really think he's going to go 6 innings or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I think you're pretty spot on here with this under, because I think the Guardians, and the reason why I like the Reds, is they're going to struggle against Abbott.
Yes.
And if the books are kind of telling us, hey, I know Bieber's been struggling lately, but this is a pretty good matchup, because it's not like we looked at the Reds, right? We looked at the split, and you were so wrong. It's actually, no, the Reds have a 170 W. Like, no, I corrected you to like their average still.
Right.
And they're an average offense on the road against Bieber. It's also a young offense, right? What does Bieber like to do? He throws 89, 90 miles an hour and just gets you to ground out and look like an idiot. So this, I feel like, is one of those games where you blink and it's like, oh, wait, it's 2-1 in the 6th. And you're like, what happened? Oh, because Bieber just worked so methodically through this young, aggressive lineup, probably a lineup that he eats up, and you get the hook at 4.5. It's a good play. My personal favorite play in this game is I do still like, right? Because if we're looking at juice, I think the team that scores the least amount of runs here is the Guardians.
Yeah,
so
makes
I
sense.
would prefer, and you get a push potential at minus 105 on the first 5 money line. That's where I would look. But again, you're in the green in this competition. You've had a pretty solid year. And you get in the hook at 4.5 after a big time offensive outburst yesterday. I could totally understand playing first 5 under 4.5.
Yeah, I definitely like the Reds too. But in my obviously how I want to justify it is, again, if it's 2-2, if it's 1-1, if you're pushing your bet, I could still win my bet. So there's
Absolutely.
a lot more ways to win this bet as opposed to the only one way for the bats have to show up essentially, to win your bet.
Absolutely. Let's move on to game number 3.
What do we got?
Orioles versus Nats, mid-major.
Yeah, I mean, in September 26th, 2023, it was 27th. What a game to be alive, huh? What a day. What a game to just cap baseball.
You know what that total tells me? You know what that total tells me? Grayson's probably going to throw a no-hitter.
A perfect game.
Yeah, like legit, like the Nationals ain't scoring a run here.
Yeah.
I don't even mind taking. I know this is not a bet I think I would ever play. I know I would never play it, but I think the Orioles win 5-0. And I think minus 1.5. Like,
yeah,
that total with that money line tells me that Grayson has an unbelievable outing. And if we look, because the Nationals have also never seen him before. And with a guy like Grayson, when you haven't seen him and you don't really know what's coming, and also the Nationals are historically known for having a terrible analytics department. So they're not going to be ready to see him. And 17.5 majorly juiced towards the over. Earn run line at 1.5 minus 120. I don't think the Nats score at all. Like,
that's an
I wouldn't know
absolute
anything
fair
to
way to
play
see this line.
except for Orioles minus 1.5 here, because I mean, minus half, minus 150. Like, I think maybe Nats team total under. Just if they're not going to score, because these lines are telling me that Grayson is going to dominate. And if we look at right-handed pitchers away, that same split that we were looking at, the Nationals are dead last, 55 WRC plus against righties since September 1. Colorado Rockies second at 67. So they are 12% worse than the second worst offense in that time span. I think Nats team total under or Orioles minus 1.5 might be the way to play this game.
So I'm definitely on the same page as you, is that I think the Orioles just absolutely blow the Nationals out of the water. Of course, Patrick Corbin, unfortunately for Krabs, our friend, he's not going to get his 10 strikeout game. I think this has got to be his last start. It's a ballsy bet, brother. I don't know if it was a good bet, but I stood by you every start. We got close maybe twice, but I don't think he's going to get it this game. I think with his tendency to just pitch, to just have that slider flatten out, and against this heavy hitting Orioles lineup, I just think they demolish him today. What I do think also is I saw the splits for the Nationals away on the road. They do extremely well against fastball pitchers of late. They're one of the best fastball hitting teams, which is absurd to say about the Washington Nationals in the year of our Lord 2023. But that's just the way Fangraphs is telling us. So I think a bit of a contrarian play is actually the over. I think obviously a lot of it is going to have to come from the Orioles. I'm comfortable with that, but with G-Rod and the Orioles, with their sights on the AL crown now, with their sights on the postseason success with such a with such a young lineup, and after yesterday's game soared under, I think the under looks really good today with G-Rod on the mound. So I'm kind of going against the grain in that respect.
Here's why I wouldn't do that. I don't think it's ever contrarian to take an over 8 at plus 100 with Patrick Corbin in against the Orioles. Like, that's fair. I've talked to DeGen about this before too. Like, I don't ever think like the over could hit. I'm not saying
No,
it couldn't.
making
I'm just
complete
saying
sense.
the
What you just said.
contrarian angle, just because it went under yesterday, like, I don't know if bettors are thinking like that and then losing, if that makes sense. Like, oh, I saw the
Yeah.
game went under yesterday, I'm just betting it again with Patrick Corbin. Like, that, it might be the play to bet the under here. That might be the contrarian play, to bet the under with an unknown starter, right? Because Grayson, like, if I'm just a casual bettor on the MLB and I click on this Orioles Nationals game, I look at Patrick Corbin with a 5.13 and I look at Grayson with a 4.49, and I know the Orioles can hit, and it's a plus 100 at 8. You combine those ERAs and it's nearly 9.5. The over does not seem contrarian to me at all. I think that's the square play, and I almost think the Nationals, while they are a good fastball hitting team, Grayson is not 70% fastball. He's got 3 breaking balls.
Yeah.
Like, I think he dices them up. Safari is on the over 7.5. Maybe I'm reading this game wrong. Maybe the contrarian play is the over, but I think it would all come from the Orioles.
Yeah, I think we're the
seeing,
same.
based on what the Nats say, I don't see them hitting at all. It could be one of those games, seriously, though, 8-1. Like,
yeah, I think it
and it
sneaks
goes
over
over.
late. I do think the way you were talking makes a lot of sense, but I think we circled so far back from contrarian to counter contrarian, if you would. I'm getting lost in the sauce here a little bit, but yeah, very well said. I do, what you said makes a lot of sense, but I still think with, you know, minus what, 250 to whatever favorite, it's hard to bet an over when you have a team expected to win by 3 runs at even money.
Yeah.
So either way, we both like the Orioles bats for sure, and we like G-Rod, you know, to an extent. You so more than I do, but we think the Orioles dominate in most fashions today. Definitely agreed there.
Yeah. Let's go to Royals Tigers. I mean,
why?
It's a division game.
Yeah.
We can look at how Skubal has done against the Royals. Funny enough, not well. 62 plate appearances. Royals bats have a 300 batting average against him with a 528 expected slug. If we look
does
at
our friend, does our friend producer Cohen have Prize Picks open by chance?
Yeah, I'm sure he could pull it up. And while he's pulling it up, against lefties, the Royals in September so far, the Royals are 8th with a 112 WRC plus.
Mm-hmm.
The over is looking at me.
I bet the over, brother.
Is that what?
It's not one of my It's not one of my contest plays. It's definitely one of the plays I think we have to bet. Couple of reasons. Everything that you spoke to. Looking at the first thing that kind of geared me towards this is pitcher fantasy score. Producer Cohen, if you could please. Go to Skubal. So 39.5.
God, he's been good.
He's been phenomenal. And now, how big of a favorite is he again today?
The line, they're minus 210 favorites.
210, and with a 39.5, with as high as a strikeout line as he has today. 39.5 seems pretty. It seems a tad low to me, brother.
Kind of high. I mean, it is.
Is it high though? For he's expected to go a quality start. He's expected to get a win. His strikeout line's what, at 6.5, I believe.
No, I mean, I think it's that way because I think the Royals hit him. So I think you're right. I just don't know if the line is so weird, right? Like, it's not 39.5 for any pitcher on Prize Picks is still going to be pretty damn high.
It's quote unquote high. I would agree.
Like, how high
I would say
it? Where would you put
I would go
like, if you were
40 plus
easily.
Easily 40 plus. In my opinion, I've seen them hang out 40 plus with stud pitchers who have soared over. But this 39.5, last time I saw this is when I got burned actually with Pablo Lopez against the White Sox. Was pitching phenomenal. He had no reason to shit the bed, and for some reason he just shit the bed against the White Sox team that lit him up. It seems familiar to me, but I think as smart as you are, and with how well the Royals do against lefties recently, I don't know if that's playing a factor into this 39.5 when you expect to get a win, when you expect to get 7 strikeouts and get a quality start. But what my brain tells me is this attracts a lot of bettors to bet is over and that are inclined to think the Tigers do well today. But minus 210 seems a tad low for a Royals team that has been really bad. You know, they had their surge in the late mid-July to August. They've been not well lately. but also the Tigers used 2 of their better bullpen arms, 20-plus pitches yesterday when they were up by 3. So I like the over. I don't like the Royals bullpens. I like the Royals bats, but we also, I guess we're kind of on the same line agreeing on Scooball probably doesn't pitch phenomenal today. So I think the over 7.5 is a good look.
And Bolin isn't any good either. So, and what I'm seeing, I'm just on other books right now. That's the best price. I'm seeing 8s in the market, and I'm seeing -120. That 7.5 at -115 is the best in the market. And I also find it interesting. 4 is -130. It's a lot of juice on a first 5 over,
isn't it?
Eric Scooball, who has been dominant, and you got the Royals. I like, but then I wouldn't just take the first 5. Include bad bullpens in it. Why wouldn't you?
Agreed.
I think that 7.5 is a great bet. I'm surprised though it didn't make the show, because the reason why I really wanted to have you on today is you bet every game, or you sprinkled on every game so far. So just go through your slate of the games that we've talked about so far. Rays, Red Sox.
I have the Rays first 5.
Rays first 5.
Yeah.
Then in Reds, Guardians. You have
the first 5 under 4.5.
Okay. And then Nationals, Orioles.
I bet the over, which we're kind of disagreeing on, but it's more so we both like the Orioles in some fashion today.
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking the Nationals put up runs, but you never know.
Yeah.
I think the Orioles are going to lead the charge there.
And
then Royals, Tigers.
I did bet the over.
So far, that over 7.5 is my favorite bet on this board.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You questioned me why I didn't make my card. Why did it not make your card, Mr. Apple?
I told you because I can like a play, but I'm practicing discipline. I am going to wait until the playoffs.
That's very smart, man. You are one of the more disciplined.
I'm winning money in the NFL, so it's like we're building that bankroll back, right? We're down 11.66 in the MLB season, but I've made 8.5 since. So we're just building that bankroll back up. So when we hit the playoffs, we're in a much better spot. Now, I can't guarantee everybody on earth or everybody in this chat and everything tails every single one of my plays. But for me personally, the way I'm betting, I'm building it back.
Makes a lot of sense.
Then when we hit the playoffs, we're back in a really good position.
That is the discipline of a long-term winner and not a long-term loser, and not someone who chases their losses. So no matter where Just Baseball is in its infancy in streaming, Peter Apple is one of the more disciplined and more responsible and better gamblers anyone's watching the stream will ever meet in their lifetime. So hats off to you, Mr. Apple.
You're making me blush. Thank you. But I still love talking about it. I still love talking about the games. People are saying, well, you stop betting on baseball. You're not doing baseball content. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I host a podcast. I host a stream. We're just not placing the wager. That's the only thing that has come off of what I'm doing is placing the wager.
I hope that anyone watching this show is subscribed to the YouTube channel of Just Baseball, because those motherfuckers are still putting out hour-long videos every goddamn day.
Every day.
Every fucking day.
Every
so
day.
Don't you dare. Don't you ever fucking dare.
People are like, you're not doing baseball content. I'm like, I'm actually going to lose my fucking mind if you say that. Like, you can chirp me. You can say the Bucks was a shit wager. You can say whatever you want. You can never say that I'm not making baseball content.
And if you don't think Arum is fucking DMing every AAA player in their league right now, you're absolutely wrong. These guys are obsessed with baseball. It's unhealthy, but it's what they fucking do. It's what they live and breathe, and you got to love it.
Breathe. This game I picked up, so I'm in my fantasy baseball championship. Humble brag.
Wow.
I picked up Ranger Suarez as a spot start. I think he carves.
I do too. The Pirates are just god awful against lefties. I don't care what they've done with this. They're just so bad. I saw Patrick Corbin get 8 Ks against them. Yeah. They're gonna get fucking. They're gonna be terrible. I didn't get to the window on this one. I just skipped over this one on accident. But if I was going to, looking at it briefly, it was the first 5 under stood out to me as well.
Yeah,
because it's more so the price. Obviously, I think Suarez does extremely well. The Phillies bats, I think, are cooling off just a little bit. Trey Turner hit 20 home runs in the span of 5 days somehow. But he's kind of coming back to earth. He's playing average baseball. And that Phillies lineup is getting more. It's regressing just a bit. So Johan Oviedo, I think, is a good pitcher. I like what I've seen from him. Obviously, he's had his issues with how young he is, but I like his ability to challenge. And I like his ability to challenge this aggressive Phillies lineup. So the first 5 under is where I would have gone in this game. But I absolutely agree. Suarez absolutely just pitches beautifully today.
I think he dices. I'm just trying to, it's like you're in high school and the teacher says, check your work. I just want to make sure. And I was like, yeah, okay. The Pirates ranked 21st in baseball against lefties. They have one of the highest ground ball rates. It's exactly what you want to see from a guy like Ranger Suarez.
That's his forte.
I mean, Ranger Suarez juiced heavily towards his over outs. He's at a
Which
1.5 run line. I think
hasn't been there. Yeah,
so,
absolutely shoves.
Yeah, hits line is good for the amount of outs. Only 1.5 walks. So Oviedo, in every sense of every prop, is due to pitch worse than him. The thing is that minus 130 feels a little sketchy to me. How would I play this game? Because I went into this being like, I think Ranger Suarez shoves. So what does that mean? That might be the first 5 under. It might just be the under in the full game. I don't know if
I did like the under in the full game, but I looked at yesterday. Bednar, Malensky, and I forgot the other guy's name. The 3 best relievers for the Pirates all pitched. A little heavy, so I don't want to back them back-to-back games relying on them. So I wanted to isolate the pitchers, which I think, again, Suarez does extremely well. Oviedo just enough to get under the first 5, and I think it's good value at plus 100 in the first under 4.
Yeah, I think it is too. I'm sure if you can find a 4.5 out there, right? Because you got over is minus 135 versus under is at plus 100.
Yeah, I mean, let's check on BetMGM. You can search. They got plenty of tools on this King of Sports.
Yeah, go to all wagers, producer Cohen. Let's see what they got on here.
It's got to be a decent value. Maybe minus 115, 120 max. I'll go to totals.
Go to innings. Up top to the right.
The easiest way is go to totals, and it has the first 5 total there for you.
Totals. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and then first 5 innings. Yeah, and you can buy the hook right there. And just press that little
show more.
Minus 115, right?
Minus 135 towards the under. Honestly, just take the plus 100 at 4. If you push, you push. It's too much juice there.
What's that 3.5 plus 125? That seems a little low, Peter. It seems like as if they're expecting it to not a lot of fucking runs, isn't it? So if you had some money to gamble with, plus 3.5, under 3.5 is not a terrible bet.
Under 3.5 is not a terrible bet. The only thing is, I mean, if it lands on 3, you would have won 3.5 anyway, but you do have the security of 4. The Marlins are so fucking ass. Goddamn, what are they doing here? The Marlins are getting pieced by the Mets right now. It's not ideal.
Yeah, with Braxton Garrett, right?
It's the most are you kidding me? Because, for example, the Marlins are gearing for a playoff hunt, right? They need to win every game. They have the far superior pitcher against the Mets team that isn't hitting lefties really well. And the Marlins, what's their better split? Lefties? Well, Joey Lucchesi just threw 6 shutty, and Garrett got killed. You made the right bet there, ladies and gentlemen, on the Marlins. That's baseball in the end of September. That's why you have to be really, really careful. That's why I'm just taking the week and a half off until we get right back to playoffs. Because, that is just, I mean, that's criminal. Plus 1250 should be free. Yeah, if you like the Marlins earlier, I got a great price for you.
To be fair, that Mets bullpen is god fucking awful. So
yeah, I mean, not out of the woods yet, but it's not like the Marlins bullpen is that great either.
There's a very big-headed Apple guy in New York that lives there. He said the Marlins bullpen is pretty good.
I was wrong. Well, they do have 2 really good guys. Nardi and Scott have been fantastic.
You stand by it, Peter. I just don't know why.
Yeah, whatever. All right, let's go to Yankees Jays. You got a pick in this game?
Yeah, it's one of my contest plays. I have to bet the Jays. They trapped me. They trapped me. Cole just pitched 8 phenomenal innings, shutout baseball against the Jays, 6-7 days ago, and now they're a dog. I have to bet it. It's trapped me, the sharp, quote unquote, the asshole, the idiot, whatever you want to call it. They got me, and I'm putting money on the Blue Jays today. The Yankees, what's funny enough, it's not so much of baseball reasoning, but you know what the Yankees came out and did yesterday is they beat the Blue Jays ace on the road when no one wanted them to, when everyone's back in the Jays. Now what's going to happen today, in my opinion, is the Blue Jays beat the Yankees ace because no one's buying the Blue Jays today. It's just one of those things, Peter, and I think it happens today. There's not much baseball reasoning to it. Of course there's a bit, but it's just one of those gut feelings.
It's interesting. Yeah, I guess the reason why I'm not fully on board with you, I get it. I totally do. I don't know how many people are going to the window to bet the Yankees today.
He's the AL
Garrett
Cy Young.
Cole,
He
I
just pitched
know.
eight shutout.
No, I know, but Garrett Cole has dominated the Blue Jays. Dominated them.
I actually looked. He had 19.2 innings with 1 earned run, I believe, this year, with like 27 strikeouts or some shit. Dominated.
I mean, the Blue Jays are playing like ass.
Yeah. And they're a favorite.
They're the favorite because they're trying to make the wild card. I mean, they're pretty much
they're pretty
set in, and the Yankees have been terrible. Like, and the Blue Jays are at home. I don't know if I mean, I'm trying to look at this game objectively. I mean,
objectively,
Yankees, but
objectively,
honestly, you're in a pretty good spot considering my track record betting on the Yankees. I would lean the Yankees in this one, especially at the plus number. You got the AL Cy Young on the mound,
and that's why I'm betting the Blue Jays.
I know,
it really. And again, I know you don't think that way all the time, and it's hard for you to go against all the fucking information you have up there. But which is smart of you. You're a much smarter man than I, so I'm not saying that you're wrong. But I just have to play this line. It's almost like we had a lot of discussion about it last week with the Jets and the Patriots. People felt like they had to play the Jets just because there was Belichick on the road and they were sharp every week, and they lost, and that's okay. I just feel like I have to play the Blue Jays today.
Using that example, it's almost like Patriots have owned the Jets, bet the Patriots, and they won.
Yeah, so Cole,
the Blue Jays, and the Yankees have been able to hit Barrios in the past.
Yeah, that's fair.
Plus money. That might just win. Like, that's
completely fair.
That's why, like, I'm sure, though. I mean, I was gonna say, well, the Blue Jays isn't one of your most confident plays, and you got 3 units on it.
3 fucking units, brother. I got a full bar tab on that. But it's just I have to play it. I can't not at this point in the season. After getting embarrassed yesterday with Kevin Gausman they didn't get embarrassed, but they lost with Kevin Gausman on the mound. I just think after Cole essentially locked up the AL Cy Young his last start, perhaps he just stops carrying in his last start this year.
Or he goes out with a bang.
Nah. That's not an option.
That doesn't fit the narrative. That doesn't fit the narrative of Blue Jays.
It doesn't fit the narrative for me to hit my bet. So, yeah, that's not going to happen.
There's a comment in chat from Dave Martinez's burner. Padres to win World Series plus 41,000. A good look. It has nothing to do with that. But I don't know if I told you this story. I think I told it on the Just Baseball show. Remember at the beginning of the year where I gave out all my futures, Mariners to win the World Series in the American League, Braves to win the World Series in the National League, and then I bet an exact plus 7,500. And it's funny, I never throw like, I mean, my unit size is much bigger than $10, but I threw $10 on it. I just like, it'd be a fun ticket if I got it right because I knew it was gonna lose, obviously, because like to get that exact never actually happens. But I did it more just
it's fun.
Case. And I bet the wrong thing at the beginning of the season. Guess what I bet?
What'd you bet?
On accident.
Mariners and Braves?
Padres versus Mariners. Exact result.
Huh.
Damn it.
So the Padres' demise is really due to Peter Apple's $10.
No, I didn't even mean to fucking bet it. Obviously, I didn't want any part of the Padres moving into the season, but I accidentally clicked Padres Mariners instead of Braves Mariners. And Braves Mariners could hit still.
Yeah.
But, so I'm just sitting with that losing ticket. Like, obviously, I mean, who cares about $10? But it's just like, damn it. At least let me lose a bet that I actually wanted.
Did you didn't know that initially then did you, right? Because you spoke to that for quite some time early on.
No, I thought it was Mariners Braves for a while, and then I just looked back at my account and I was just going through, I'm like, oh my God, it's Padres Mariners. What the fuck did I do?
As bad as you felt at the Mariners making the World Series, I don't know how deep your heart sank when you saw it was the Padres on that ticket.
No, and I gave it out to people. So like other people probably have Mariners Braves like that exact result plus 7,500 because it was the same. It was right next to each other, and I must.
Imagine
clicked.
Imagine it does hit, and everyone is just celebrating. Everyone can fly to a bar in Cabo, and Peter's sitting in his apartment. All your subs are just gathered around without Peter Apple.
like $10 wins $750. Like that's a sick ticket, and I won't
That's a
have it
sick
if
ticket.
it hits.
Well, you
All
got a
right,
story, brother.
Marlins Mets. Do you want to
I
get
don't look at
full
game
into
two.
this one? It's
When I was
game
looking,
two's doubleheaders.
I don't want to. When I was looking into it, there's still like no set pitchers, so it was just throw some money on there if you wanted to, but I didn't want to. There's no reasoning for me to be honest, to spend any time on it. You're more than welcome to, of course.
No, I mean I got nothing. Let's just move over to
Nothing.
Cubs versus Braves.
Yeah.
Game of the
What
night.
were you?
One of them.
Yeah. Yeah. What were your initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts. 9.5 is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
I like Vines. I think the Braves win again. I think that, just talking motivation for a second, it's a really tough loss to battle back from for the Cubs. But the thing is, the Braves are kind of too expensive.
Yeah.
Minus 160. Come on. The Cubs could win, but them blowing a 6-0 lead. Like,
They
do the
got
Cubs
run
have it in
lines,
them to
right?
battle back and win? I don't know. I would lean towards the Braves here, even though like nobody really knows anything about Vines, but he's got a good changeup.
They got run lines, correct? 9-7. Was
No,
that the score?
7-6.
Oh,
Did
7-6.
not
I
get run
apologize.
lined. So everyone who
Okay.
bet Braves minus 1.5, I don't know who did when you got Steele versus Elder on the other side. But I know a lot of people got burned on the Cubs. I know a lot of smart people there. But then again, you can imagine plenty of people had Braves money line. They just locked it in.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's really a sharp square side to this game. And the Braves are too expensive to bet, but I would not bet on the Cubs. Where do you lean?
Blindly, I just had to take the over. I was stupid enough to, I guess, force, if you would, the first 5 under yesterday. It was more so backing Steele to bounce back, which he did, early. I thought Elder would pitch decent enough to not allow 5 runs in the first 5. He did not. He allowed exactly 5 runs in the first 5. This Braves pitching staff across the board, I just cannot back long term, and I think that's pretty apparent now with their struggles in their bullpen and their starting rotation, just not getting innings out of them. That's going to hurt them big time. Obviously, I think every baseball brain feels the same way, but it's depending how you feel their bats can do, how much they can actually carry that pitching staff. And I know Taillon had some good streaks, or like one good streak in him just to end the season. I'm not a huge fan of him. He allows a lot of barrels, and if you just allow barrels to this Braves lineup at home, on the road, I should say, it's just not going to go well. The Cubs pitching staff yesterday got demolished in the bullpen. The Braves bullpen is not good. I had to bet the over. Just if I would just use my baseball brain, we have 2 high-flying offenses with 2 subpar pitching staffs. So you spoke to Vines. How deep is he gonna go after him? What quality of arms do we get after having to pitch their quality arms to come back from 6-0 down? Because the Cubs are still playing to get in the wild card. They're not set there.
Producer Cohen, can you pull up Prize Picks? You know why? I got a feeling.
That's a good song.
Look up Matt Olson.
You got some plums tingling or what?
I do.
8.5.
I think he hits a home run today.
I mean, he's hit 55 this year or some shit, so it's a good call.
Yeah,
Every
no,
third game he's hitting a home run.
I'm not trying to be the sharpest tool in the shed. Like, oh my God, you think Matt Olson's going to hit a home run today? His matchup is so good against
with Taillon. I completely agreed.
This is like he hits a lot of home runs for a reason. Taillon's the guy he hits them off. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pitcher like this who works up in the zone to lefties. And just because again, check your work, right? That was my initial feeling. I'm 75% positive that Taillon's got a real issue against lefties.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's terrible on the road. 865 OPS against lefties. That's like, it's not sharp. Like, I'm not here telling you, oh, take this guy you've never heard of to go over a half base.
But he's hit 55 for a reason. We will say that too. I mean, just baseball reasoning. It makes a lot of fucking sense. And that's okay to use a baseball brain.
No, I know. It's the way Taillon pitches. Guys like Olson who get to those balls up in the zone sometimes with a little bit of a longer swing, they can get blown up by velo. Tyone doesn't have that. And then what Tyone's going to try and do is he's going to try and go away and low. And Olsen is so prolific because he can get those low and away pitches and drive them to left field. He can go foul pole to foul pole. That's why, and you look at BVP, why is Olsen only minus 197 to get a hit? Because I think that hit, he might not get that many hits today, right? Olsen's
but the one that matters.
A boomer bust type player. So it's like that hit might be for extra bases, but he might only get one. But against Tyone, everything that we've done so far, like this is my favorite hitter. You want to take a power lefty against Tyone, and this is arguably the best power lefty in the game at home. This would be my favorite, and I don't know how to take him because
what we could
8 fantasy score. Like I would just take him straight on the books to hit a home run. Like that would be just my bet for this game. Get the plus money. Don't worry about the fantasy score because he's either going to go 0 for 4 and he's going to fly out, or he's going to hit a home run. Is my opinion on this. So I would just take his home run odds. That's how I would play this game. This would be my favorite matchup. And he's not one of those guys that jumps off the screen, right? He's only got 4 plate appearances against Tyone.
Yeah.
He's 1 for 3 with a bomb and a strikeout. It's kind of what I think he does again. I think Tyone gets him once, and Olsen gets him once.
Yeah. So what we can do, Peter, is place his over home runs for $10 and get that Padres Mariners World Series money back.
We could do that. We could do that right now. Plus 270. I like him
That's
at
good
home.
value, brother.
FanDuel's plus 320.
That's good value.
What do you think about that? You against it?
I absolutely love it. Peter, your baseball brain, hearing the way your brain fucking develops, it's a work of art. Obviously, what you have up here, I can't understand, but the way you're able to communicate fucking baseball is beautiful. Why would I not bet on Matt Olson today after what you just said? There's not a single contrarian bettor that could oppose that opinion unless they were just trying to be stupid. Why would I not back Matt Olson today in any way?
That's why I got to be a little bit careful. I can't just start throwing out plays every which way because I'm afraid people are going to tail them. And I'm like, well, I don't love it, but
But that's why you have the following that you do, is because you understand as much as you do, and you're still being as selective as possible. And long term, that's a winning recipe. There's a lot of people that think they know how to bet baseball, that think they know how to bet football, that think they know how to bet the NBA, whatever market they know how to dissect. You have all of that, and yet you're still selective as balls with the plays you put out and the money you spend on your own money you spend on.
There's plenty of angles I like, but then there's another thing to place your money on it and be like, I'm betting on this. And
that is a disciplined bettor, which is, again, a long-term successful recipe. And that's not common in this industry or this or in your profession, I should say.
Well, I appreciate it, Mid-Major. Let's talk Cardinals Brewers. Because this is a game my head is in a complete pretzel with this one. We got Zach Thompson taking on Wade Miley, and Zach Thompson has been pretty solid.
He has.
Pretty low total. But then again, it is Wade Miley, and sometimes you look up and it's been 5 innings, 1 run. You're like, how did he do well?
Wade Miley, yeah.
If we're just looking at, because again, I love looking in division games. I need to know how the pitchers do against each other because these guys have seen each other hundreds and hundreds of times. Like a guy like Zach Thompson, I bet he's faced the Brewers more than any other team, right? A guy that young to still have 35 plate appearances against a current roster. It's okay. 226 average, 356 xWOBA. Those are actually pretty decent numbers for the Brewers. Then on Wade Miley's side, it's even worse. 305 batting average against, 524 expected slug, 376 xWOBA. It might be square, but I kind of like the over. I think both offenses come to play today, but again, I don't know if I'd play the full game over because I do respect the Brewers bullpen. I kind of like the first 5 over, but then I hate taking overs with Wade Miley because sometimes he just turns in this weird-ass start. But I would lean towards the over in some capacity. I don't think either pitcher pitches all that well today, but
that is one of the plays I sprinkled on is the first 5 over at plus 100.
There we go.
Okay. The exact same reasoning for every reason as you said it. And my only concern is the exact one that you have is fucking Wade Miley.
He's for some reason he's such an asshole.
He's such an asshole. He's such
I
an
like him,
anomaly.
I've always liked him.
He's a piece of shit to bet on. But
Yeah. You never, because he's one of those guys you actually never know what you're going to get. He could look terrible and give up 7 runs, or he could just eliminate Cardinals bats in 30 minutes. And it's just,
I don't know if you were old enough to ever bet on R.A. Dickey, but I am. And if you ever bet on R.A. Dickey, that's kind of the similar feeling. You know, with his fucking knuckleball, who knows what was going to happen? Who knows what kind of control he had that day? But I get the same feeling for Wade Miley. Just an old lefty with who knows if he's going to have that curveball in today. Who knows if he's going to be able to what he's going to do. All his underlying stats are really bad. But again,
always really bad.
Always really bad, but somehow he performs. But that being said, if there's a lineup that can take advantage of him, if there's a lineup that knows him, even though they haven't seen if there's a lineup that's seen him the most, again, it'd be the Cardinals lineup. So they have seen what he can do at his best and what he can do at his worst. And whilst the Cardinals have been written off this season for every reason, while they're the second most, what was that? What was the Just Baseball video on YouTube? The second most embarrassing letdown. The 5 most teams this year.
You're talking about the episode we just put out?
Yeah.
Yeah, top 5 most disappointing teams.
Disappointing, yeah. Thank you. Disappointing. That's a word I don't know apparently. They're the second most disappointing team in the all of MLB. Everybody wrote them off. Rightfully so. But they still have bats that can hit. And I think they get to Wade Miley today.
I don't know if you listened. That's what we were talking about. It was like, I mean, the lack of pitching on this team from the first inning to the 9th, it's just been terrible. But the bats have not been the issue here. Yeah,
but you know a bat that has been.
I think the first 5 over is the way to play it.
That's what I sprinkle on. So we're on the same thought process there. And it's our only fear is Wade Miley if he decides to Wade Miley. But yeah, plus 100, I think it's good value.
I agree, and that's why I wouldn't bet the Brewers because we have the same thing. What kind of Wade Miley will we get? So,
and that's why I didn't bet the under.
If you get a bad Wade Miley, you ain't winning the Brewers, but you might win the first 5 over.
Yeah.
If you get a good Wade Miley, the Brewers might still be able to hit Zach Thompson in order to get the over. So I agree with you. The first 5 over is the best play in this game.
Agreed.
You want to talk A's Twins? I mean, this game.
I do a little bit. Just a tad. I will say. So I was an idiot. I put $50 on Pablo Lopez 2 starts ago against the White Sox to become the AL Cy Young at plus like 20,000 whatever. It would have net me like $10,000. He shit the bed against the White Sox. He let a grand slam in the first inning. He did not pitch well against the Angels his next start either. I don't think he pitches well today. Again, his stats say he should look good. His lines say he should look good. But as a minus 250 favorite at home against the Oakland A's, the second worst team in baseball, what else are you going to put him at? His fastball has not been quality of late. And if the Oakland A's have done anything, they're just pesky. It's a young lineup that called up every prospect they have that just wants to play baseball. And they're letting them play. And on the other side, the Twins lineup just demolishes fastballs lately. And this pitcher for the A's just throws 50, 60% fastballs. Yesterday got over. I think today soars as well. Yeah, I think Lopez gets touched up a little bit.
I agree with you. Looking how good the Twins have been against righties. Yeah,
they demolish the fastball. They hit this. They improved their hitting against the slider, which is his secondary pitch, and then the changeup, which is off speed. So I don't know if this A's pitcher gets anything past 5 innings. After 5 innings, anything the A's throw out there is just dog water. So full game over, 7.5. It dropped from 8.5. The opener at 8.5 is actually something that caught my eye too. It's hard to put an opener at 8.5 with Pablo Lopez against the A's, and yet it opened that way. Early steam hit the under 7.5, which makes sense. I don't think it's the right side.
I would isolate the Twins.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's what I would probably do. Lopez has some good numbers against this A's team. Some really, really low quality of contact. Some of the best on the board today.
Agreed, but watching him his last 2 starts because I've had to because I put $50 on him, so I had to suffer myself.
If he gives up 2 over 6, Twins score 5. It's going over. So I like even if he pitches like that's a pretty good start. I mean, 6 innings, 2 runs. It's a good start. And you never know.
Agreed.
But that's the problem. Kind of similar to Wade Miley in the A's. Like A's could put up 4 in the first inning. Like I would not be surprised, and they just put up 4 in the first inning, or they could legit get no hit here. They're a tough team to cap.
Agreed. But one of the reasons why I also found my way to the over to the window is Pablo Lopez has never really found himself in this position in his professional career on a team solidified in the playoffs, essentially as the number 1 and 2 ace, depending on how you define Sonny Gray. But they're playing for postseason success. They're playing for the World Baseball Championship, and he's the catalyst for that. He's one of. So why would he push himself his last start of the regular season against the second worst team in the MLB? That's kind of how I saw it.
I don't mind it. Let's get to an actual fun game. Dodgers Rockies. It's not G Sheehan, Bet MGM. Come on, let's be better. It's Emmett Sheehan.
He put G? They put G?
They put G. A little bit of a
sports
by Bet MGM. I kind of think this game ends with 60 runs.
I bet the over.
I think they annihilate Noah Davis.
What I do think, actually, this reminds me of the last over I bet in Colorado. I don't think I've bet more than 5 Colorado games in Colorado this year, just because I don't fucking want to. Everything's overvalued to the over. It's hard to quantify what that really does, in my opinion. You know, the field and what the market does to it. The last game I bet was a over with Colorado in the last game of a series that neither game has gone over since in before the series. But what I found was the Rockies team total, they had scored 2, 1, and 3 the first 3 games of the series. And yet the last line versus a quality starter, it was at 4.5 juice to the over. It's a similar line today. Obviously, G Sheehan, it's not the name that we all expect of the Dodgers bullpen or their pitching staff, but he's pitched pretty well lately. You know, his last 2 outings, he's looked really good. And yet, the Rockies, after scoring not more than 4 runs since last Tuesday, are at 4.5 juice to the over, which catches my eye. So I think the Rockies absolutely score off of Sheehan today. And I think the Dodgers will score $1 million off of Noah Davis. There's no reason that shouldn't happen. If they do, it's just because they're drunk again and hungover. But if they showed up to work today, there's no reason this game doesn't see 15 runs.
Yeah. Trying to think, is it first 5 or is it, I think it's full. I think it's just like Sheehan. How's he going to do today? Because I'm honestly.
Well, think about it. Do you want to bet? Yeah. Do you want to bet do you want to see Daniel Bard? Because if you see Daniel Bard, the game's going to go over. I mean, thank you, Daniel Bard, for the free square on the season long. But do you want to see the Rockies bullpen?
Casey Man says, Producer Conan, can you scroll up a little bit? Did that Casey over move? Because that was probably my favorite play that we've gone over so far.
It was 7.5 when we talked about it.
Yeah, -1.
Interesting. We have mentioned during this season of baseball betting about market movers, and clearly the Just Baseball stream chat are market movers. And we are influential in that, Peter.
We talked about that 15 minutes ago when it went up, not to -120 at 7.5, not to +1. It's now sitting at -110 at 8.
And mind you, it was only -115, I believe, when we went over. That's heavy.
See that first 5 moved up too? Is that 4?
Interesting.
Now 4.5.
Interesting.
Consider the over here, folks. Even at 8, that feels like one of the ones where it's landing on 8 or going over.
It seems like one of those plays that just kind of slip under the rug because no one wants to look at the Royals and Tigers, and yet that looks like a really good value play. I'll have to get to the window with that as well.
Sub bang. Are we getting sub bangs? I'm not on Twitch. Are we getting sub bangs in here? Producer Cowan? Are we getting sub bangs? You let me know. Unfortunately, I don't know if people have been subbing or not. I'm in our studio. Let me see. Sub bang. People are banging. Thank you. Who did it? Who's sub banging?
Thank you for banging, Peter. He very much appreciates it, guys. So thank you.
Thank you, Thrasher.
Oh, Thrasher. I mean, the Orioles. Anyways, I won't talk about the Orioles. But Peter, you're a phenomenal host. Phenomenal product you're putting out. So I just want to keep saying that. And you deserve all the bangs you get.
Thank you, my friend. Rangers versus Angels.
Yeah.
Angels killing the Rangers yesterday.
Just the most. I can't believe the Rangers in the playoffs, man.
Yeah.
Their pitching staff is so dog shit.
How would you bet this game? I don't know what's going to happen. I want to say that I like Griffin Canning. I want to say that Dunning pitches okay. I think I look at this first off, and I think 8.5 is too low. I would bet the over. I think if both offenses are hitting, both offenses are going to keep hitting. That's just how these two teams are. Rangers on a bounce back too. This feels like a game that's like 7-4 Rangers, and it goes way over 8.5.
I bet the over. Again, Griffin Canning, for some reason, the market, and especially Prize Picks, they value him a lot just because of his strikeout potential.
Not bad. He's not bad.
He's not bad, but watching him, his stuff does not impress me. It's not always that competitive, really, in my opinion.
Got good command.
He's got good command, but it's not.
When you have fine stuff and good command, like you can be a good pitcher.
Yeah, but I think they just overvalue him, Griffin, for some reason. But that being said, I bet the over. I will say I fell to the fallacy of the fan who knows his team. I thought the Angels lineup was gonna be dog shit. Since we lost Ohtani, even when we had Ohtani with him for some time, we called up Chenul. We got Ohapi back.
Shanwell.
Yeah, Shanwell. Pardon me. We got all this whole fucking different lineup. Which is just an anomaly what we're putting out, and we're just producing runs somehow. Yesterday, we scored 9 against that fucking Rangers pitching staff. I think we do the same thing today because lo and behold, one of the Angels' best pitch to hit is the sinker. Lo and behold, Dane Dunning's favorite pitch to throw is the sinker. So I think we get there. I think we get at least 3 or 4. There's no reason that the Rangers shouldn't get at least 3 or 4 against Griffin Canning, especially when after both of these pitchers, you have 2 of the worst bullpens in the league by far. Angels, I think, are the worst in the month of September. They've been dog shit. Carlos Estevez has been the worst closer in that position over the last 60 days. It's not going to get any better, in my opinion. So over, in my opinion, over is what I bet as well on this sprinkle.
So you still have one more 3-unit play.
I do.
Is it in this Mariners-Astros game, or is it in the game below that?
It's below that.
All right, let's do Mariners-Astros first. I think the Mariners are going to win. Just baseball fans, I need your opinion. I'm looking at Astros team total. Miller has been looking very suspect of late with a lot of fly ball, hard hits. Do you think he pitches well? Again, you always want to go back to, because guys may not be doing all that well, but there are certain lineups that they see well. And that's exactly what Bryce Miller does. Through 40 plate appearances, the Astros are hitting 105 against him. The only hitter in that lineup with any sort of success is Yainer Diaz. Now, 40 plate appearances is not a big sample, but knowing that it's a division game, knowing that the Mariners need this, and let's just go to props, right? Let's just look at his props and let's see if the books are telling us that he might get hit up a little bit. So if we log in and we look at pitcher props, Miller's K's juice towards the over, earned run only at 2.5. Framber's got a -240 or -140 on 2.5. I think the Mariners win this game. I do. Framber has been through this before, obviously. He's also got great numbers against the Mariners. I would lean the under, and I would lean the Mariners.
I would lean the under. I also lean the Mariners. Actually took him first 5. I took him plus the half. It's very expensive, but I agree with you. Is everything that you said is what I saw. At the same time, for some reason, this entire Mariners pitching staff has issues with left-handed bats and left-handed power. Whatever pitching staff or pitching coach they have clearly does not see left-handers well, and their pitchers are the exact same way. But the Astros, again, albeit 2 of the best left-handers in the league, they only have 2 of them in the lineup, in Tucker and Yordan Alvarez. So Miller has been aces against righties. So if he can get through the lineup twice without allowing Tucker and Alvarez to just go deep on him 2 times with the order, I like the Mariners absolutely as well. That would be my play.
Yeah, let me look, because you're very right. He's very matchup dependent here, folks. he really gets hit up by teams with predominantly left-handed hitting lineups. Like, for example, the Rangers, a lot of lefties in the lineup. The Dodgers, not too many lefties. What did he do? 5 1/3 shutout baseball. The Rays, they platoon against a guy like Bryce Miller. What'd they do? 5 earned. The Reds, a team with some lefties, but not predominantly left-handed, gave up 1 run, but 7 hits, right? A couple of those lefties did the job. They just didn't have
So he got out.
runs,
Yeah.
right? I look at a lot of the right-handed dominant lineups. Houston,
he's been aces.
through 6 shutty, right?
Yep.
Angels at the time were pretty right-handed. 5 innings, 10 Ks, 1 earned. The last righty lineup he faced, Dodgers shoved. So he's very matchup dependent. Astros are not going to get a lot of lefties to him. I would lean the Mariners, and I would lean the under here because I do think Framber pitches pretty well. I think it's one of those games where he goes like 7 innings, 3 runs. One of those. Miller goes 5 innings, 1 run. You get the Mariners bullpen in. It's one of those games that ends 4-3. That's where I would go. And I think Mariners ended up winning it. If we're looking at the best value on the board, I think the Mariners' money line is. Or you can bet minus 115 on the under, but I think if the under hits, it means the Mariners won.
Same thought process. I don't have anything really to add to that. I would say the Astros bullpen is not impressing me whatsoever this year. I don't know if you're thinking along the same thing. They have the names. They have history of success, but they're not pitching really well right now, or have lately either this end of the season.
To their standards, yeah, Ryan Presley has looked human, but Brian Abreu is still that dude. They just don't have. It's not as deep. Like last year, a guy like Ryan Stanek had an ERA in the 1s. Right? Like they don't have those guys this year. They just have their studs. And if
Rafael Montero is pitching to who Montero is, though.
Like I think that's the difference in their bullpen is it's like it's still good because they still have their studs, but what made the Astros bullpen so good was they were so deep, and they're not that deep.
Yeah.
The Mariners are. I think the Mariners win this one. But you got your 3 in a play. Is it in
I do.
Giants?
I do. I wanted to place it on the Padres because Sean Manaea is going to get absolutely demolished today. I know that in my heart of hearts. I know that for a fact. Lefty sinker ball thrower who the Padres are just eating up in the past 30 days. But I'm not a fan of Matt Waldron. I don't know what to expect out of his fucking knuckle curveball, man. Again, I just don't know what to do. He is pitched okay of late after getting his dick kicked in, but after the Giants got eliminated from the playoffs, after they've got embarrassed at home, scoring 0 runs, after Logan Webb's gem of a 1 inning 9 earned run or 9 innings 1 earned run ball in the first game of the series, I think the Giants scored today. We're seeing 8.5 in San Francisco after the first 2 games have soared under, and a lot of money's on the under, and it's not moving whatsoever. It's being pretty stubborn on the over. The books are, especially BetMGM. I like that. I think it goes over, especially I'm in the first 5 over because I do respect the Padres. Some of their arms they have in the bullpen. The Giants have some really good arms in the bullpen if they can get to them, which they don't often do. But I like the over, and I like these 2 pitchers not to perform well, specifically Manaea and specifically Waldron. And I think that I'm hoping the Giants bats because they have a decent matchup in Waldron. I'm just hoping they have the motivation to, finish their jobs this season because if they don't, they're going to get shut out again.
I don't know how you cap Matt Waldron.
I know.
Knuckleballer, it's just, does he have it that day or does he not?
Yeah.
I think I would just go full game over. I think the full game over hits because the first 5 over hits.
I think that's where the majority of the runs are coming from. So
I would want to include the Padres bullpen, and I think if the Padres are scoring early, you're not going to see the best that the Giants have to offer in the back end. I think the only way you'd see that is if Sean Manaea shoves, and then it goes under anyway. So that's why I kind of like the over through the full game, but I think it hits because the first 5 over hits. So I like both sides. It's just if I were me, I would want to include the Padres bullpen, and I would want to include the Giants bullpen because of the way I see the game, ending.
Makes complete sense. I perhaps am overvaluing or am being too scared because the Giants bullpen and the good arms I know they have. If they don't use them, it's not going to factor into the game though. So I don't hate the full game over. I just for some reason placed on the first 5.
So we went through all the games.
We did.
Just to recap, why don't you go through your 3 favorite plays that you got 3 units on each?
Well, but after we get off of this call, I'll have to add the Tigers over. I'll have to actually place it for a full unit instead of my sprinkle because that was phenomenal. Our discussion, not only the discussion, but the book's movement and the correlation to what we talked about. So I'll have to add that. But first off, it was the first 5 under in the Reds and the Guardians game. You like Abbott to pitch well. I like Abbott to pitch well. And the books are expecting Shane. They're placing a lot of respect in his name today, which, you and I caught that on the books and the pricing, what they're pricing Bieber at. So I like that. My second play is the Blue Jays. It's not much of a baseball reasoning. Yankees beat the Blue Jays ace yesterday. So today what's going to happen? The Blue Jays are going to beat the AL Cy Young and winner at home. That's just why I'm playing it. Simple as that, honestly, for a full unit.
Do you think Vladdy goes 4 for 4?
Vladdy is going to go 4 for 4 in double plays. That dude sucks.
Do you know how many 4-hit games he has this year?
I can't say I think of any because you would have pinned that to your fucking profile, Peter. Yeah, exactly. You have nothing pinned to your profile, so that is a big fat goose egg.
I hate him.
He's the one stopping you from your 6-leg, right? For 62.50 or some shit.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't get it, we'll still double our money, which is nice. But I want.
It's not 62.50,
and it's more than the money.
Yeah, because you want to be right, Peter. We're fucking gamblers. We want to be fucking right. We're narcissistic.
I want to be right. We're narcissistic. We're pieces of shit. And we're just giving you all our best shot. But before we go, quick Thursday night leans. Producer Con, if you could pull up the lines for Thursday night football. Have you placed anything yet? I have not been made.
I have.
9-2.
So
you have.
I placed the Packers plus 1.5 already. So I know the Lions was very dominant against the Falcons on the road, but what did the Falcons do? They had Desmond Ridder on the road, who is a terrible fucking quarterback. I think it's essentially his first road game against the Lions defense, who just got embarrassed by Geno Smith. They played hungry. They stopped Bijan Robinson, and once they stopped Bijan Robinson and forced the ball into Desmond Ridder's hands, he did absolutely nothing. That guy's not an NFL quarterback, so I think their defense is being a little overvalued right now. At the same time, if you looked at the Saints-Packers game last week, which I did bet on the Packers, thankfully that won with a missed field goal. But the 4 best players on the Packers roster were held out in Bakhtiari, the left tackle, and Watson, their wide receiver, and Aaron Jones, the best overall player in my opinion, and the running back, and then Jair Alexander, their starting cornerback. 3 of those guys, with what we know from just history and context of the Packers organization, is a very conservative organization with how much they utilize players whilst injured. So I think they held them out to play a home division game against the Lions, because obviously the Saints are in the division, or they're in the conference, but the Lions are in the division and they're tied with the Lions right now to at the top of the division. This game means exponentially more than the Saints game does, and I think at least 3 of those 4 players play. And once they're announced in, I think we see that plus 1.5. Turning the Packers into a favorite. So I don't want to lose that value. I grabbed the 1.5. What are your thoughts there? Because that's obviously not the game breakdown, but that's more so just NFL gambling knowledge and how that steam will come eventually if and any of those players are ruled in, which I think they should be. With the home division game being on the short week, I think they set this game up, the players up to play this game instead of Thursday against the Saints.
Here's what I'm thinking here. So,
talk to me.
What I think has been a really good system that I generally like to play, and I didn't play it in week 2. What is the team was down by 9 or more at half, and they went on to win the game. Those teams in the preceding weeks only hit about 33% of the time against the spread. And that would say to fade the Packers in this one. But then on the other side, the problem is this division game in prime time and the home team's getting points.
Yeah. So I think
and this line opened as the Packers -1.5 and immediately flipped. As soon as the release, immediately flipped. I am leaning towards the Lions. I really am.
That's fair. That's fair.
And I don't know whether to take them early, but I think the Packers, like, that was a big time emotional kind of win for them over the Saints. Like, I know that they held out some guys, but to do that, normally it takes the wind out of your sails. And now on a short week, but then you also have Jared Goff outdoors has historically not been good, but in this specific game, this is Jared Goff outdoors in 68-degree weather. It's supposed to be nice in Green Bay tomorrow.
It's not Lambeau weather, yeah.
Not Lambeau weather yet. And this total has been on the rise, right? Normally, division game, prime time, I'm taking the under, and it still might go under, but I'm leaning towards the over here. I think the Lions are a better team than the Packers. The problem is, I know the public's going to be on the Lions because they think that too. But the fact that they're both 2-1 here, who do I think is more likely to get off to a 3-1 start? I do think it's the Lions. But I don't know if I love them yet. One bet that I do like, I like Jordan Love over completions. The Lions are really, really good at stopping the run.
And
if that's going to force Love to pass, I don't think LaFleur is going to make him pass downfield. I think it's going to be a lot of short dump offs. Maybe if Aaron Jones is back, it's to the running back. I like over 19.5 completions for him.
I have not looked too much.
He got 22 in his last game, but is rarely ever there.
Yeah,
it's one of those games where he's at 20 or more.
I would agree. If Aaron Jones is in, despite whether they say he's 100% or not, I will back him in a positive way in his overs somehow. I think he is just a phenomenal player. He is one of the most underrated players of all positions in the NFL, in my opinion. He's not valued enough for his physical ability. He's not valued enough for his speed, which we saw in week 1. In our season long, we have his over for his rushing receiving, which it hurts for him to be out 2 weeks. That being said, it was so high because his potential. And the Lions, whilst they have a great front seven, I shouldn't say a dominant defensive line, I don't love their athleticism at linebacker. So if Aaron Jones can get out, run those short passes and get those linebackers in space and get those safeties in space, I think he could take advantage of them big time. What I didn't love from Jordan Love last week, I know it was outdoors, I know it was in Lambeau, but he lost his footing a lot. You don't fix that grass in over a week, in a week's time. And perhaps Jordan Love at home in his first prime time outing, perhaps he sees the bright lights, which he hasn't really done so in his career yet. But I'd want to back Aaron Jones somehow. That's how I see the game.
Good shit, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming on. We went through
thanks
the
for
entire
having
thing.
Me.
And,
yeah.
And remember, everybody listening, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back in studio. We'll have Thursday Night Football plays. We'll be looking at the entire MLB slate. But mid-major, I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. But before, thank you for coming on. Thank you for saying all those nice things. You're very nice.
Yeah, by all means. I am one of the more sarcastic assholes you'll meet on Twitter, but it's just because I got a big heart. You gotta find both sides. You gotta find balance, boys and girls, I should say. I apologize, but thank you, Peter, for having me. Just Baseball is a fantastic product. Subscribe to the YouTube video. Look at Peter's big head just talking to a microphone for 24 hours straight. It is wonderful to look at, and it's delightful. And you don't see much of producer Cohen, which is also nice. So till next time, guys.
Peace out, homie. We'll talk to you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Was that fun? I had fun. Right? We're just trying to switch things up. This is our first year doing the show. Sometimes I'm in studio. I give you a full breakdown of the game. Then we get to other people picks. This time we just went over every game. Did you guys like this version? Do you like the other version better? Remember, all we're trying to do is just give you the best show possible. We make changes when we don't think something's going right. Sometimes we got to do it for my apartment. Can you guys just let me know in chat? Like, do we like that way? Do we like the other way better? Just trying to get better, right? And I appreciate you guys saying W stream. Do you like that version better? Right? Playoff time. What would we prefer? Excuse me. I like more people with more picks, but I get it. Baseball is out of fashion. I think it's just right now in this week before the playoff starts, I think it's more difficult to cap something and to predict something to happen because it's so unpredictable right now. Personally, I liked it more. Appreciate all the content, Pete. Appreciate you guys. Producer Cohen, thank you. A little bit of a switch up. Producer Cohen's good on his feet. Just knows what the hell he's doing. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Talk to you guys soon, all right? You just got to remember, it's not gambling advice. End the stream.